We can't expect to have God ask God to align with our plans and expect to live a life as if we are aligned with God's plans. It doesn't work that way. Instead, we must align with God's plans, no matter how humbling of experience, how mediocre it might feel. Because really, are we chasing greatness or are we chasing God? Are we chasing success or are we chasing God? Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Revived podcast today. It's been quite a while, but some exciting, amazing things have been happening, and I'll fill you in. Today's going to be more of a casual episode where I just talk about what's on my mind, sip my coffee, which has a Broncos on it. I guess not a Broncos, but it's a Broncos mug. The NFL draft is this week, so if you're a sports fan, this is a great week. We have the NBA playoffs going, NHL playoffs. My favorite, baseball is happening, and Cleveland happens to be taking on the Yankees this week, which is always great because Yankees always knock us out of the playoffs. So it kind of feels like revenge, even though it doesn't really matter. But it might matter. I don't know. That's exciting. The NFL draft is this week, which is fun. I'm a Steelers fan, but I got a Broncos mug, and that's okay. I do like Bo Nix and the Broncos as well, so that is exciting. It's exciting to watch the home team perform well. Ever since Peyton Manning left, it's been not fun to watch the Broncos, but last year I actually had a lot of fun. It was a good season. When it comes to what's been going on, look what I got here. We have our book. See, our book is available now for early access for anyone who wants to provide a review. Go and email me or go to revivebrand.com/connect. Fill out the form there. It's like your first name, last name, or whatever. But in the message section, put in that you want an early access to the book, and I will get you some early access. It does come with the caveat that you are willing to provide a review. Otherwise, you do have to wait until May 20th, 2025 this year. That's the week after Mother's Day. So like it goes Mother's Day, 1 week, then that Tuesday. The reason why I'm waiting for that day is to honor Mother's Day and let everyone come down off the high of Mother's Day. And then it's like, oh crap, it's Father's Day. We got to buy something. Got the perfect gift for you. Actually, I love it. One of the reviews on my book so far for someone on the early access team, they said it was a perfect Father's Day gift. So shout out to you, person who left that review. I appreciate you. If you can see me right now. Putting my hands together, shaking my head, going like this. Not toward the camera, though, because the mic's in the way. But that's okay. All right. Well, how are you? How is life treating you? Has it been busy? How has your April been? I feel like the last time we had an episode out was probably March or maybe early April. A lot has happened. We had Easter. We had 3 weeks of just springtime coming. A lot's been going on. A lot's been happening in the world. Right now, we've really just been marketing our book right now and setting up all behind the scenes, prepping for launch. So that's been all consuming with my time right now. And so I decided I'm not going to shoot a couple podcast episodes. I'm going to go ahead and focus on the book because that is what matters most right now. That is going to be our main source of income. So that's a big deal. I do want to shout out the few people. There are people who are that are contacting me to get this book in bulk and to give it away, because right now you can do that as well. And so if that interests you, if you're wanting to buy 20, 25 plus books, let me know. I can hook you up with an extended discount so you can afford a lot to get the word out there. Because right now I am more interested in getting the word of fatherhood and how God can affect your life and change it for good out there more than I'm making a penny. So yeah, I'm not going to probably make money on this book for a little while, but God willing, I will. And who knows, if God has a miracle in the works that I don't know about and I can sell 1 million copies this year, then I will full-time write. The next book, I am messing with the idea. I got to do my outlining and some studying and some visual organization, but I'm going to see maybe if the next book might be a marriage book. So right now we've been going through the Sermon on the Mount, and then in here I have a whole section of kind of about love, and it's really awesome. But those two thoughts have been really just kind of just working with each other, and I'm like, this is almost like a really good picture of if you applied this to marriage. And I was like, this is really exciting. So I might get all my notes out there, and turns out I have one chapter on marriage, and I really just need to be writing just a relationship book, how to deal with relationships now that you're a Christian, or you follow God, here's how you should treat people, because that book can be really useful too. I feel like we have a lot of people in the world that just don't know how to treat each other. Like, you say you follow Christ, but you don't know how to treat people. You're really judgmental, or you talk about people behind their back, or you don't serve them, you don't sacrifice for them, you're selfish, you're not generous, it's all about you, it's about your pleasure, and it's not, and you sacrifice their pain, and it's just kind of crazy. And so I'm like, maybe it's we take the Sermon on the Mount and everything we've been working with, and we break that down and give it to, yeah, I don't know what to do. So if you want to comment and let me know, marriage book, relationship book, uncle book, aunt book, some sort of book, I'm going to start working on my next one. It'll probably take about 2 years, like this last one did. But it also might go a little faster since we are now familiar with the process on how to get the book out there. We have all the contacts necessary, because part of the pain was figuring out, like, hey, who do I need for this next part of the book production process? But now I already have that, and it's wonderful. But again, our book, look at it. Look at this book. The designer did such a good job. One of the pieces of feedback I did get, if you're watching this, is this looks like me and James. In all honesty, this is not me and my son. Even though it's like, this is great. I didn't even think about that till the person provided that feedback. And I was like, oh, you know what? I kind of like that, but it's not. But it is just I just wanted it to stand out and look simple yet encouraging, yet like into the sunset almost, as you can tell. And so it's really exciting. Here's the back cover if you like. There's a little picture of me, just because apparently you put author pictures on the book, and then the description as well. And if you want me to actually flip through the book, wow, look at that. You can get a little preview right there. Look at that. Kind of giving you a sneak peek, but look at that. It's very easy read. It's 150 pages. I made it short but yet long, and it's very easy to. It's not very heady. It's almost like you're listening to me on the podcast. And so if you're like, I'm an easy reader, not big book kind of guy, this is perfect for you. And honestly, I don't know many dads who are like, give me the thick War and Peace book or something. It's just like, or the Art of War. No, it's nothing like that. But it is a book that is just straight to the point. There's no fluff. There's some fun stories, very practical, a lot of application, and I just want to encourage every dad out there. So no matter who you are, if you have a dad in your life that you're like, they could probably benefit from this book, go ahead, put them to my website to get them signed up, or sign up on their behalf. So when it comes out, Father's Day gift. It's going to be $15, and it's going to be available on Amazon. And if you have Prime, I think it ships for you. So yeah, that's where we're at with the book. All right. Talked about the book, talked about the possible next book. This episode is not going to be very popular or get a lot of views or anything because it's a catch-up. I just wanted to get an episode out there so everyone can kind of know what's going on in the world of Revived, honestly. As I sit and I think and I pause, if I have like 3 listeners right now that stayed on long enough, we'll get into some stuff. I know we've been going through Reviving Fatherhood, and I'll just read a little. Let me pull up an excerpt here. So I think we got through chapter 1. We got through chapter 2. Yeah, who wants a little reading of the book? Right? Okay. I love this. And this is from page 20 and 21 in the book, and we're just going to go ahead and I'm just going to read this to you so you guys can get a little taste of what's going on in the book, but also too, just think about this in your own life, especially as a dad, and when it comes to comparison and calling and tools that God has for you. And let's go ahead and just read a little bit. Let's go for it. So continuing the conversation, we're going to start discussing whom we will become and what life will start looking like as masterpieces of God. Because chapter 2 is about becoming the masterpiece that God has designed you to be. So although God is in the business of changing your life, you must be willing to put your skin in the game or you cannot expect to see results. God never forces you to do something new. That'll always be your choice. Keep this in mind as we finish up this chapter. God will provide the change and the ability to do so, but we must choose to live out of the power He provides. Trusting God with the tools and talents we have is vital to our becoming. It is easy to compare ourselves and think we have nothing to offer or are missing the mark or to doubt our potential. Here's an example from the story of David and Goliath found in the book of 1 Samuel in the Bible. And the excerpt is taken from Leader Resource 1, David and Goliath, background information on the interwebs. When the story begins, it emphasizes how small and insignificant David is. His brothers are soldiers in the army, but he is the youngest, just a shepherd at home. He is sent to bring cheese and sandwiches to his older brothers in the army as it faces off against the Philistines. And when he gets to the camp, he discovers that the whole army is paralyzed with fear of one Philistine fighter, a giant named Goliath. David volunteers to fight Goliath, which is crazy, but David figures he has fought lions and bears as a shepherd, so he can fight Goliath. So the army suits him up with armor, but it's too big for him even to walk in. David goes to fight Goliath with a sling and 5 smooth stones, the weapons of a shepherd boy. He wins, Goliath is slain, and little David is a hero. For those of you who didn't know the story, now you do. In the story, David did not argue or compare his choice of weapon to take down the giant. He was content using the tools God had provided him and what he was well versed in. When David went to fight Goliath, he looked down and saw 5 smooth stones. David knew a sling and those stones were the tool necessary to take down the giant. He did not overthink the circumstance, question his abilities, or doubt his talent. He had trust. David trusted God and the tools he had provided him to accomplish the task at hand. The same applies to us. The gifts and talents we have from God are given for what he has in mind for us, for you. Do not pick up a bodysuit of armor and sword when God built you to fight with sling and stones. I love that. I think all too often in our lives, we get all caught up in comparison, and I should be doing what that guy over there is doing, or I should be doing what she's doing. I need to become a teacher like her. I need to be more impactful like him. Can we just live the lives that God created us to live? It sounds so simple. So as I lean back in my chair and sip my coffee and we wrestle with this thought, why don't we do that? Why don't we just live the lives that we were meant to live instead of trying to always chase someone else's life? We can look at social media, we can look at our friends down the street, we can look at the way we interact with the world, and a lot of us are like, if only I could be like that person, like him or like her, and live the life that they live. And we lose contentment for how God made us. We look at our lives like David, and we just, David's actually a little bit different, I'm not going to say it, but if you look at David's life, you just like, I'm a nobody, I'm a nothing. And that's kind of probably what David felt as a shepherd, and that's probably what we feel. But in the midst of the feelings of, I am nothing, we actually are something, and God has a plan for us if we align our lives with God. See, whether or not you believe this, if you're not serving God, you're serving someone or something. There's a lot of demons and spirits out there, and God is the ultimate supreme creator of the world. And if you aren't subjecting your life to him, you're open to the voices and subject to service of anything else out there. It's kind of a scary thought. That's why, there's no books of the Bible about these other beings out there as being supreme and like a good father and kind and loving. No, a lot of the stories of everything bad in the world always seems to be tied back to some kind of spiritual evil going on. I don't know why I just went on that tangent, but actually, I've been working on some spiritual warfare stuff recently, so that's been pretty cool. But we need to be satisfied with who we are and who we are becoming in God and submitting our lives to him and subjecting our life to what he says is right and true to fully become who he has in mind for us. Who you are and where you are in life is a good thing. God wants you there. So let's use a practical story from my life. I have a tendency to compare myself to other people who are great speakers, talkers, writers, influencers. And I'm like, I wish I could be like that Christian person over there. Man, they got like 1 million subscribers on YouTube. They are 500,000 people watch every video they post. And man, they are killing it for the kingdom. And I'm over here with a modest, humble 1,000 subscribers, few hundred views on my videos. And I'm just like, okay, that's fine. But can I be satisfied? Can I be content with just where I'm at? That is the question. That is the challenge to me in this season of life. I want to be content where I'm at. I want to be expectant of where I might go, but I don't want to go anywhere if I'm not happy with where I am now. If I'm not happy with where I am now, if I do get somewhere, I won't be able to handle that somewhere, in my opinion. Because then if I get there, I'll be like, I accomplished it on my own. I think there's going to be a lot of I think a lot of us have a tendency, if we ever get somewhere in life, to think that we got ourselves there. But I don't, if I ever end up somewhere, I don't ever want to be there. I want to be there because I was put there, not because I achieved it, which is very, very possible. In this day and age, you can be like, okay, God, like, I want to serve you with my life and everything. And then you're getting God to align with you and your success and your dreams, your hopes and your visions. And you start going through life. And then a lot of times you might be questioning, God, why is life so stressful? Why is it so hard? You promised peace. You promised this. But you don't realize, like, you're fighting to accomplish everything and you're pushing against. I had this vision last night. There's like this mesh screen, kind of like this, and there's only one little spot right in the middle. This is where God is. That if you go in this middle of the mesh screen, it all comes together. But a lot of us, we have a tendency to be on the left side or the right side, and we're just like running into like the studs of this mesh, and we're like really like pushing and we're getting it into, like, we're moving it forward. So if, like, here's the mesh and we're moving it forward, but it's hard. It's a fight, and we're like, where's these other things in my life that you promised? Where are these other things I wish I could have that you said are should be a part of my life because I'm following you? But in reality, you're not following God. You're not aligning your life with his. You ask God to align with your life, and you're missing out on all these other things because God's like, you're asking me to be a part of your life, but you're making me come along and do your plans. You're not aligning yourself with me in the way I see, in the way we do things. And so if you decide that you want to, like, okay, I'm gonna pursue God, the number one thing, no matter what, no matter success, no matter anything, success or failure or discontentment or contentment or whatever, Jesus is right here in the middle, and I'm gonna pursue him no matter what. That's like the opening of the mesh, like the little corridor that you can take, and this whole mesh just gets sucked up into it, and this everything just flows and comes with it. And honestly, that's straight from Matthew, the Sermon on the Mount. Seek first the kingdom, and all this will be added. All this will be added. Wow. You see, we can't expect to have God align with, ask God to align with our plans and expect to live a life as if we are aligned with God's plans. It doesn't work that way. Instead, we must align with God's plans, no matter how humbling of an experience, how mediocre it might feel. Because really, are we chasing greatness or are we chasing God? Are we chasing success or are we chasing God? Are we chasing our 401k being in the millions, our net worth, everything? Are we chasing that to be ultimate and we take care of ourselves, or are we letting God do that and following God and trusting him and pursuing him as number one? That is what's going to lead to that place of, wow, I got all these other things I didn't even try. It's not, I didn't, like, because God's just like, I take care of everything. You might not have $1 million in the bank, but you will have more than enough because you'll realize what you need, and then you'll look at what you have and you'll be content. But it's a practice. It's not like you're going to wake up one day and all of a sudden have a massive contentment. No, it's going to practice. Like, every day, can you practice being content? So therefore, like, praying, fasting, generosity, those are very simple ways in your life to just really, okay, God, like generosity, because it's really easy for us to think that we own everything, we take care of everything, we take care of ourselves. No, give it away. Okay? Go when you tithe, great, tithe. If you don't tithe, that's fine. But look at what you have, and are you giving it away abundantly? Not like, oh, I'm stingy with my generosity. 10%, that's it, or 2%, that's it. Like, no, like, literally just, I hate the saying, give till it hurts. No, generosity doesn't hurt. It's a gift. Generosity should just come out of the abundance of the overflow of your heart. Like, buy more than enough, buy high quality, buy plenty, and just bless those around you, just as your Father has blessed you. That's a great way to get your mind off yourself, that you take care of yourself and that you're in charge of yourself and your future. Great way to do that. Jesus gives us this all in the Sermon on the Mount. So go back and listen to my previous episodes about all this for more in-depth details. Prayer. When you spend time in prayer, you're syncing up with God and you're focusing on him as your Father and God and Yahweh and like Lord of the universe. And it really puts you in perspective of, okay, he's like the number one. He is the relationship. Everything that I have flows from him. And it's really like a really good way to get your eyes off yourself and look at someone else, God. And then fasting is a really practical way to deny yourself and just be like, hey, like, my ultimate substance, My ultimate whatever, my ultimate being is God. And so when I choose to fast, I choose to give up like food that makes you feel good, that like fills you up, that makes you feel like you can get going, and it allows you to just like like really just subjecting yourself to God, saying, God, I trust you to take care of me. And I think it's like an act of faith. One thing that was interesting is over the Easter weekend, I got to watch that new King of Kings kid movie. Highly recommend. It was fun. Took James to it. Oh, it was a great time. But it was really cool because when I was watching it, I've seen The Passion, I've seen all these Jesus movies, everything. But this time is really interesting. The cross scene, for all you don't know, it's really fine, really great. It's G-rated. James was not scared or anything like that. It's good. But during that scene, he says, Father, into your hands I commit my spirit. And it was really the first time I realized that that was like an ultimate act of faith. Like Jesus entrusted his spirit to his Father. He's like, I am going to die. I now give you my spirit, and now you get to do what you said you're going to do. And it's an ultimate act of faith. And that's kind of what reminds me of like what fasting is. It's like we get a minute to say, I deny myself of the substance that literally keeps me alive here on earth. And I decide I am going to focus on the true source of life, God himself. And he is the one who breathes life into my bones and keeps me sustained every day. Those three practical spiritual disciplines are a great way to really practicing contentment and not compare yourself, because it really gets the focus off yourself, gets it onto other people, gets it onto God, and really you get a good perception of my life is not mine. It's meant to be given away. It's meant to be like in service to God. And those three ways are vital to, with this mesh screen, to help you align yourself with God. Think about that. I challenge you to think about that this week or until my next podcast episode comes out. Can you practice abundant generosity? Can you spend a lot of time in prayer and maybe just fast one meal this week? Let's say, okay, here we go. I'll make it very practical because you guys like practical stuff. I want you to find, depending on where your income is at, I want you to either give away $5 or $50 this week. Okay? Unplanned, unbudgeted. All right. But for somebody in need, somebody that you know, don't just like go to you can totally do this, but I would encourage you to make it personal. Don't just go to the homeless guy in the corner and give him the $5 bill and say, I did it. No. Look for an opportunity to find somebody in need, or go out to lunch with somebody, or go out to coffee with somebody, and don't tell them it's afterwards, but then pay for their meal. That way it forces you to do to not be stingy in your giving. You know, if like depending on where you're at with what you can do and where your heart's at, I would encourage you to just go be overly abundant in the quality and the amount that you can. But $5 or $50, depending on where your income range is, that is the practical challenge on generosity this week. All right. For prayer, I want you to spend 5 minutes a day, work through Matthew, I think it's 15, Sermon on the Mount. Wow. Matthew 15:6. It's been a while. Actually, I got the Bible right here. Wrong one. I want you to work through the Lord's Prayer. And, too many bookmarks. I want you to work through the Lord's Prayer this week. Our Father who is in heaven, hallowed be thy name. That one. Go through that in detail. And I want you to pray that every day for 5 days. Acknowledge that God is God and God is your Father. Ask him where you can align your life to become a citizen of heaven here on earth, and that focus on God as your substance. Ask for forgiveness and to keep you from temptation. And look in the Sermon on the Mount as a whole. I have a whole episode on this a few episodes back that you can kind of get more in depth of what's going on there in the prayer. But focus really on God this week. If take 5 minutes to pray as you start your day or end your day, do it every day for 1 week, 7 days. And then for fasting, I want you to find one day, maybe a Wednesday or a Tuesday. I kind of like to do midweek, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. And right now, I'm in a place in my life, I can only do one meal because I'm building up. But I want you to find one meal, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. I like to kind of do either a breakfast or a lunch because it's during the bulk of the day and I'm like awake and I'm up and I'm processing. I'm being able to spend time in either worship or prayer. And I want you to give up a meal. And during that time of giving up a meal, I want you to really focus on praying. That would be a really good time to do the Lord's Prayer and just walk through that maybe multiple times during that meal session. So that way you can really because I love this. I don't know who said this. It could have been, I don't know who said this, but I love this. If fasting without prayer is just starvation. Fasting is intentional to spend time with God. There's so many resources out there that you can go look and see, like, how can I fast and pray, and just do those two things. Don't make it too complicated. Just stop eating food, be intentional with spending time with God in prayer, talking to him. Go look up some other resources online, like Bible hubs and other speakers and teachers that have broken fasting down a little bit more, and you can get more in depth into that. But that's my challenge for you today. Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, give up one meal, breakfast or lunch, and pray instead during that whole 4 hours that you could have eaten until your next meal. Do those three things for 1 week straight, and then come back and comment or message me or hop on revivebrain.com, Instagram, Threads, wherever, Facebook, and let me know how that went for your week. Let me know what seemed to change. Did you have any new perspective shifts of the world? Because part of me wonders if we are not content with where we are because we're focused on something else out there in the world of where we think we need to be. But then when we do something like this, it kind of puts it into perspective of this is where we are, this is what God has, and our success in life is not a matter of we're actually not where we're supposed to be, but our perspective of we're right where we are supposed to be. Contentment is a perspective shift. It's not a, sometimes, yes, you could be in a completely wrong place, wrong time, all that stuff. You're walking in like heavy sin or whatever. But if you're not, and you're just like most of us Christians out there that are like, where's my purpose? What's going on? It's probably more of a perspective shift to realize, where is God in my life? And how am I aligning with him? And I'm right where I'm at. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. It's fulfilling. It's wonderful. Well, everybody, that's kind of all I got for today. I think we're about 26 minutes in. And so thank you so much for joining us on today's podcast episode. Like I said, just kind of shooting the breeze today. Go to revivebrain.com/connect to sign up for the book. And I just look forward to this coming out on May 20th. Stay tuned for when we shoot another episode, but don't know when it's going to happen. But just want to give you guys something in the meantime. So take care. Go Broncos. Go Steelers. Cheers.